I feel strongly that one of the primary missions that we have as educators is to make sure that we have an informed citizenry for generations to come. And in order to be an informed individual, that means that they must be able to have access to clear, understandable facts, truth, if you will, about the science that affects their lives on a daily basis. Nebraska, like most states, is a very dynamic state. We have a very dynamic population, and the demographics are changing all the time. As a result of that, some of the research that's going on in our department right now in agricultural leadership has to do with cross-cultural leadership and cross-cultural communications. And I get asked this question a lot. What is agricultural leadership? Why do we even have agricultural leadership in the year 2011? And I remind people that this great nation that we live in, this great state that we're a part of, is really made up of not Lincolns and Omahas, but it's made up of small communities. And those small communities really weave together to form the fabric of who we are. And if we don't have strong, vibrant, small communities, then Nebraska suffers as a whole. UNL is a very outstanding institution. It is one of the rare institutions that has not only the land-grant mission and is considered the land-grant university for the state of Nebraska, but it is also in the American Association of Universities. And so there's only a handful of universities that have that distinction. I don't know of another institution, certainly in the United States and maybe around the world, that's better suited to conduct research on conservation of water, and certainly when it comes to advances made in increasing production for commodities such as corn and soybeans. Because of the heavy investment that Nebraska has in those two areas, again, Nebraska is uniquely poised to be leading the research in those two areas, food and water. I think the most difficult challenges for communicating science in the 21st century is that science has just exploded in terms of the technology, in terms of discovery, and in terms of the application. There's a great cooling off period that's been documented that occurs somewhere in the junior high, middle school level and continues on into high school. If you look at the data on elementary students, there's a certain natural curiosity and a natural fascination with science and the wonders of science. And then we get to a point where it becomes not nearly as interesting and not nearly as exciting. And certainly for a state like Nebraska that is so heavily dependent on agriculture, we can teach science, I believe, in the context of agriculture, in the context of animal, in the context of food production, that students can relate to here.